Let's get more now on the news that the north of England will be harder hit by spending cuts than the south, according to new research. We can talk now to local business owner Keith Hunter. He is the managing director of the TTE Technical Training Group in Darlington and joins us now. Welcome. Very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too.
What are your initial thoughts on this research?
Well, I think it's important to retain a sense of balance. I mean, actually, we are going to be hit by public spending cuts inevitably, but I think we must take it also as an opportunity to make sure we see new investment in some new industries, so we don't make the mistakes we've made in previous recessions of potentially making a lot of people unemployed and losing the skills of the area.
And when you talk about investment, are you talking about private sector or public sector government investment?
I think I'm primarily talking about private sector investment because I honestly believe that's where the growth in our economy locally is going to come from.
Why hasn't that taken off in the north in the same way that it has in the south, and hence we look at these figures today?
Yes, I think there's one issue with the figures, and that they are tending to look backwards rather than forwards. I think critically, I think the recession in the northeast of England started rather later, and maybe the tail of that recession is lasting that little bit longer, perhaps, in the north of England. We are now seeing a lot of potential investment coming into the area, which will create new jobs, and we have the skilled people in order to service that new private sector investment. So I feel quite optimistic about that.
How much of the job losses and the cuts that are going to be affecting people there in the northeast, how much of that can be sapped up by the private sector, if you like? Is there really that kind of investment coming forward?
Well, I think there's two questions in one there. Clearly, we don't know yet the scale of the job losses that potentially may come from reduction in public expenditure. Equally, we don't know precisely how many new jobs will be created. But I think the good news in terms of the potential restarting of steel making on Teesside will immediately create new jobs, not just in terms of steel manufacture, but in terms of the supply chain and the service industries, which so much depend upon private industrial investment through manufacturing.
Do you think that in the north of England people have relied too much on public sector jobs and that there hasn't, for that reason, been such investment in the private sector?
Yes, and I do see this as a window of opportunity, to be honest. I think if we are going to see potential job losses through government cuts and spending review, then I think we must seize the opportunity to make sure that we do what we can to invest in new jobs, particularly in the manufacturing, high value added sector, to ensure that we can embrace a new economy which will see the area for the next five to 10 years. We have made those mistakes in the past. I'm anxious to ensure we don't repeat those mistakes going forward.
And you've talked about renewals in the steel sector. What else, though? What other up-and-coming industries can people look to in the north? Okay, we may have a resumption of steel making. That will be fine, and we'll welcome that. But I think the most important and most exciting types of new investment that I'm looking at in the area are in things like low-carbon economy. This would be things like biomass power production, certainly some new forms of new technologies which I think we can utilise and capitalise on in the area, in addition to things like offshore wind, because facing the North Sea, we have an obvious opportunity to capitalise on that new investment going forward. OK. Keith Hunter, good to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much.